All right, welcome to I almost said the Team Nourish team call. Welcome to the Whole and Nourished Weekly Accountability Call. I am Danielle. If you did not know me already, if you're watching the recording, hi. We are going to get started with our content piece every single week. We hop on here and we do a little bit of coaching, a little bit of wins, that kind of thing, and then I could launch into a little bit of content. And so tonight's content is going to be about water. So I know that some people do not struggle with water, and if that's the case, like by all means, give everybody feedback specifically in the boot camp group with what works for you. Because I understand, and I also think like maybe just as the years have gone on, people are like, no, I get it. Okay, okay, okay. I get it. I'll drink the water. But for me, when I very first started my like lifestyle transition, proper amounts of water were not easy for me. And so I have run into a lot of different boot campers who really struggle with that. And so I've come up with a few ways that I want to share with you today about how to increase your water and how to just make it more palatable. First things first, though, before we get any further, we need to kind of discuss how much water is where you need to start. And, growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was always 8 glasses of water. You should have 8 glasses of water a day. Well, I don't, A, I just think that's ridiculous. And B, if everyone's body is different, why does everyone's body need the same amount of water? Answer is they don't. Someone who is 100 pounds does not need the same amount of water as someone who is 200 pounds. My child does not need to be drinking the same amount of water a day that I drink. Someone who has a very active job, who is outside, who is sweating, maybe they work in a plant nursery and they're active and they're moving, or they're construction. They need a different amount of water than somebody that sits at a desk all day in an air conditioned office. So the idea that water consumption is across the board, 8 ounce or 8 glasses of water a day is ridiculous. So wash that with water away from your mind and start implementing a new thought process around water. The base level that I get to talk to people about is half of your body weight in ounces of water a day. Super simple. If you weigh 200 pounds, half of that is 100. Add the word ounces on it. 100 ounces a day. If you weigh 100 pounds, you need to be drinking a minimum of 50 ounces a day. That takes into account nothing else. Okay. So that takes into like, or let me say it this way, that does not take into account your job, where you live, how much you're sweating, anything else. That's just genuinely your baseline. So again, we're going to work off of, if you're 200 pounds, you need to be drinking 100 ounces of water. You need to increase that water if you are an active, sweaty human being, because guess what? Sweat is water leaving your body. If you are in a very hot climate, think Arizona, the dry heat kind of thing, you need to be having more water. Oddly enough, you need to be having more water at higher altitudes. So if you are, up higher, say the Denver area, that kind of thing, and you're traveling, make sure you're drinking lots of water there. If you're flying, I have lots of clients who maybe you're a flight attendant, or you are, traveling a lot for work via airplane. Increase your hydration for that as well. So, like I said, half your body weight in ounces should be your bare minimum. But here's the deal. And this is kind of where we'll go into implementation real quick about that. I understand that if you are coming from Coke Zero and coffee all day long, all the time, if you weigh 200 pounds and I tell you all of a sudden, hey, sis, go drink 100 ounces of water, that is repulsive to you. Like, I get it. My mom, I tell this story a lot. And it's funny, Yuvia had mentioned something about a podcast before we hopped on. And I was like, funny, I used to have a podcast. I mean, I guess it's still out on the internet, but I did a whole podcast about water, and I told the story about my mom, and I hope that she will never hear me say this story, but my mom once told me, "Danielle, why would I drink water? It just makes me pee." And I was like, "I don't think you understand the human body, mother." Like, I want to draw you a diagram. Like, I want to do a lesson here on a whiteboard, because pee is really important. Okay. Like, pee is your body's eliminating waste. If you do not eliminate waste, It's not that you don't have waste, it's just still inside your body. So you have to get the waste out, and so that's through urination and defecation. So both things must be a part of your lifestyle on a daily basis because you got to get the junk out of your body, and that is how your body filters out all kinds of toxins. And so I want you to know drinking water is important. But like I said, I also know that it's unreasonable for some people to go from 0 to 60 all at once. And that's okay. Anything more than you were doing yesterday, you're doing a good job for. So if yesterday you started with 4 ounces of water and 68 ounces of Coke Zero, maybe today we play with those ratios. Maybe we do some like 8 ounces of water and only 60 ounces of Coke Zero kind of thing. So just incrementally increase your water. I get a lot of pushback on water from, and we'll kind of cover some FAQs here about water. So like, what if I don't like water? I get that a lot. Well, I don't like water. Well, we talk about this in our nutrition segments of this call, but know for one, your body likes what you've conditioned it to like. So if all you eat are Doritos and highly processed foods, your body's going to crave Doritos and highly processed food. If all you ever feed your tongue is liquid that has sugar attached to it or chemically manufactured sugar attached to it, guess what your body's going to want? Sugar and chemically manufactured sugar. So you have to retrain it. And again, I'm not telling you that just suck it up, buttercup, and drink some water. There are some ways that you can maneuver yourself into more water. But first and foremost, if I can encourage you to cut out any kind of soda addiction you have, like get rid of the soda. It literally does nothing for your body. There's not a single positive thing that soda does for your body. And I get a lot of people that are, they're absolutists and they're like, I can't ever have a soda and blah, 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 blah. Listen, if you want to have a soda on Thanksgiving with your family, that's fine. But the reality is it's no different than anything else that has no nutritional value whatsoever. So think about what you're choosing that soda to replace. So are you choosing that soda to replace a cup of water? Are you choosing that soda to replace slice of pie, like whatever it is? So make sure that if you're choosing soda, that I don't know, that it's a treat and not just a part of your lifestyle, or a caffeine fix. I have a lot of people who are like, well, I choose soda because it has caffeine in it. And I drink diet soda because, that's got to be better for you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could give you thousands of pages of research on why diet soda is like the devil. But the reality is the sooner you can kick the habit, because the majority of it is genuinely just a habit, the better off you are. The other interesting thing about soda is the longer you go without it, when you have it, you can taste every piece of chemically manufactured yuck in it. It does not taste good anymore after you've quit it for, I would say 6 months to a year. If you go back and taste it, it's like, oh, what is that? That tastes funny. It's all the chemical junk that's in it. So your body can condition itself to just drinking water. So get rid of the soda fix. That's going to help you drink water. The other thing is just like food, you can play with water, right? So you can, with food, you season it. With water, you flavor it, right? So you can do a fruit infused water kind of thing where they even make like single water bottles that have infusers in them. You can do big jugs that have infusers in them, like a gallon, that has the stick and you fill it with fruit kind of thing. That's a really great way to get some all natural flavor in there. They also make some pretty low processed flavorings. There's a company called Mio, M-I-O, that makes a flavor droplet that's pretty, again, good, better, best. Is it the best? No, plain water is going to be the best. But is it good? Is it better than soda? Heck yeah, it is. So you might try flavoring it with stuff like that. Also, decaffeinated teas are a great way to increase your water intake. I will tell you this, and I have a lot of people who are like, it's okay, Danielle. What did they call it? Hot bean water. They're like, I drink lots of hot bean water, coffee. And I'm like, it doesn't mean what you think that means, friend. coffee and anything with caffeine like that is a diuretic, and so it actually negates the amount of hydration that you're putting in your body. You're eliminating double that from your cells, and so it really is dehydrating you and not hydrating you. So I would encourage you, and I'm not saying don't drink coffee. Like, I love coffee. Probably will never stop drinking coffee unless some medical reason makes me stop drinking it. But the most important thing there is just knowing that if you're going to have coffee, if you're going to have caffeinated teas, they are going to kind of count against your water intake. So just know that you need to up your water intake if you're consuming any kind of caffeinated drink like that. So like I said, tea, herbal brewed teas, there's some controversy around putting essential oils in water. Some people are very, very against it. Some people are fine. I've never really read anything that convinced me that it's a bad idea. But just make sure that whatever essential oils you're adding into water are consumables and not meant to be topicals. So make sure that they're rated for food consumption. But that's another great way for you to include just a little bit of flavor into your water. I also get a lot of questions about sparkling waters and carbonated waters, that kind of thing. What are those? Soda streams, stuff like that. Soda stream is a really great invention. We have one, but the thing that I noticed when we bought our soda stream was that all of the flavor packages in them include fake sugars and fake flavors. So there's really only a couple of them that we found. The bubbly brand of sparkling water, if you've ever seen they're solid colored cans with pretty bubbles on them. They make a soda stream flavor pod thing, oil. I don't know. I think it's oil, but they have nothing other than just, the essence of whatever it is in it. So there's no artificial anything in those, but just be really cognizant when you're adding stuff in that you watch out for artificial flavors, artificial colors, and artificial sugars. Just eliminate those. But that's a great way to do sparkling waters. You can get them at the store. Just again, be careful because some of them have a lot of added junk in them. Trying to think of a couple of other, so that was flavorings. The other thing, as far as like comparing food to water here, if I have clients who struggle with including vegetables in their diet, we talk a lot about how are you preparing them. Maybe you don't. I had this conversation at jujitsu last week. I don't know why we were talking about canned green beans, but we were talking about canned green beans. And the one girl said, I don't like regular green beans. I only like canned green beans. It's what I grew up eating. I kind of like that they're mushy. Like, it's my thing. Somebody else, oh my gosh, I can't stand canned green beans. They're disgusting, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. The green bean is the green bean. Is the canned green bean the best option? No. But is it better than Doritos? Yes. So at least we're playing with the food in a way that gets it in your body. Same goes with water. Maybe you don't like cold water. Try it lukewarm. Maybe you don't like lukewarm water. Try it cold. Maybe the water where you live it doesn't taste good because of chemicals that they add into it to purify it or whatever. Get a water service. Here in Hawaii, that's a huge thing. I've never lived anywhere before where it's such a big thing to have a water service. But island water is kind of a thing. And so they have this thing called Menehune water, and it's, those big jugs. So I don't know, different places have different companies, but they're the big 5-gallon jugs that you tip into the thing and you have drinkable water there. There's lots of different ways to get purified water, but you can, get a filter, get a Brita, get whatever, but try water lots of different ways before you come and tell me that you don't like water. That's a big one. Let's see, we talked about consumption as far as increasing over time. I do always want to address this when I give a talk about water, and there's this, I don't want to call it a myth because it is 100% a real thing. But people are like, well, I just want to be cautious about drinking too much water. I heard on the internet there was this girl who got drunk off of water and she threw up and she died. And I'm like, okay, yes, I am positive that, and I know people who have basically gotten water drunk, essentially. You have to drink a lot of water, like a lot of water. You drinking a gallon of water, if you are over 160 pounds, you are not going to overhydrate. I promise. If you are under, I would say if you're under 130, that's where you do kind of need to be a little bit more cognizant of your water. I would, again, if you're under 130, so let's go with 120. If you're 120 pounds and you're drinking a gallon of water, that's almost double the amount of water that you should have been drinking. So know that, yeah, that's probably too much water for you. Same with your kids. Like, here, kids, we're going to have a gallon water challenge. That's probably too much water for them if they're like 85 pounds. You don't need to be drinking a gallon of water, especially if their body is not used to drinking that much water that fast. So, be sure that you know, are cognizant of that. But again, if you're over 140, you're probably not going to be drinking too much water. It's kind of like, people are like, well, I'm afraid that I might eat too many vegetables. Sweetie, you're not going to eat too much kale. I promise. Like, you're not going to turn orange with too many carrots unless it's the only thing you're eating. It sounds like more of an excuse not to eat them than it does just actually taking care of your business. The last little thing that I wanted to mention about water is people that talk about how they forget to drink, or, I don't know, they forget to drink is, I guess, the best way to explain it. Couple of little hacks, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, that I would encourage is, number one, get yourself a very large water bottle. So whatever my goal every day is a gallon of water. So this is a half-gallon jug. So I know that if I drink 2 of these, I've hit my goal. So whatever your personal measurement is, I would get yourself a container that holds at least that, if not all of it. The other thing that I have, because I'm not perfect, just like everybody else, I get in busy seasons where we're running around and I forget to track my water, is I have a 1 gallon jug. We bought a gallon of water at the grocery store for like 220 or how much ever it is. And I drank the whole thing. And now I refill that same gallon jug. And so I know that if at the end of the day, that gallon jug is empty, I've done my job. I don't have to track it. I don't have to think about it. I just know if the gallon of water is done, we're done. I encourage people to prep their water the night before, especially if you like cold water. Go ahead and fill your gallon jug and stick it in the fridge. That can be the thing you do before you go to bed. Um, some people like lots of bottles of water. I'm not a big fan of that, obviously, because I carry around a half-gallon of water everywhere I go. And it's so funny because I have carried this half-gallon of water. I have several of these jugs. It's a Hydro Jug brand. And I like it because it has a sleeve that has a pocket so I can stick my keys in it when I go places, like a little mini purse. But I I am so often seen with this that when I am not seen with it, people are like, "Oh my gosh, did you forget your water today? Do you need some water?" And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. I did forget my water today. Thank you for looking out for me." But make sure that that becomes kind of a permanent attachment to yourself. And the way that I have found works really well for me, everybody's a little different, but I like a water bottle that has a finger hook because I am always carrying 1,000 different things. I'm a mother of 2 young children, and I often refer to myself as a pack mule. They constantly ask me to hold things, even though my arms are very full already. They're like, "Hey, mom, can you hold this?" I'm like, "No, it's fine. I have 6 bags of groceries and my water bottle and my keys and my cell phone, but like, sure, sure, throw your pair of socks on there, like no problem." And so the finger loop has saved me more often than not. This one also comes with a shoulder strap, but I don't like shoulder straps. I feel like I'm flopping everywhere. So the finger loop is good. I've had several different, I think Blender Bottle has one with a finger loop. I've used that before. I'm not trying to like sell this water bottle. I just like a water bottle with a finger loop, and I like one that has a pocket on it just because, again, we're always around to jujitsu and it's easy to throw my keys in there and throw it up on the ledge so that I can drink water through jujitsu. Um, a couple of other little things about water. I get a lot of people who are like, "Well, I don't want to drink water too close to bedtime." Great, then don't. You don't want to pee all night? Me either, sister. Like, I'm almost 40 years old. I don't feel like getting up 5 times a night to pee either. So drink your water earlier. Like, really not that hard. All you have to do is start earlier than you do now. Know that you need to have I would say 3/4 of your water done by like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then have the rest of it with water and move on. One more little word about timing, and that is that, I have people who are like, "Well, I just forget," or whatever. Make it a part of your routine. So what I like to do is tell people 20 ounces with breakfast, 20 ounces with lunch, 20 ounces with dinner, and then another 20 ounces scattered throughout the day. That's 80 ounces of water. So if you're the average 160, that's your water for the day. If you are more than average and you need more water than that, then have 30 ounces with breakfast and 30 ounces with lunch and 30 ounces with dinner. Like split it up throughout the day and make it a part of your regular program. The other thing that I always want to mention really quick with water, and then we'll be done talking about water. And that is just the first thing that touches your lips every morning should be plain water. Try your very best not to have coffee or anything caffeinated touch your mouth before water. And part of that is, and I just thought this was super fascinating when I learned about this, your brain, obviously you're not drinking water as you're sleeping, right? So if you're sleeping approximately 6 to 8 hours a night, that would be the equivalent of going through your entire work day with not drinking water, which again, if you're my mom, good for you for not drinking water for 8 straight hours, but that's not normal. Not at all. But at night, while you're sleeping and your body is restoring, it's absolutely normal. But just know that your brain has a lot of water in it. And so your brain is going to dehydrate. And so if you are chronically groggy in the morning, if you've really struggled to get up and get going, I know Yuvia and I were just talking about this, like really struggling to like get the brain power going in the morning, have water first. I would encourage you to probably do it cold and probably, and if you want to amp up the oomph factor of it, throw some lemon juice in there too. Lemon, ice cold water first thing in the morning will get your brain moving along. It's almost like you can like feel it suck in like a sponge. To me, it feels so refreshing and so good. And then I go on and I have my Energize and I have everything else. But just know that really water should be, the very first thing that you consume every day. I think that's really all I wanted to say about water other than drink it. I don't really accept a lot of excuses about water. Get an app. It's 2022. There's an app for everything. There's apps that'll ding you. Your watch will ding you to drink water. Like you have no real excuse other than the fact that you don't want to and that you're kind of lazy about it. But it is one of the fundamental things that will help your weight loss, will help your memory, will help all cognitive functions, will help your body digest and eliminate properly. Drink your water. That is my spiel for water. So we're going to hop off and do some question and answer and some other stuff. But thanks for tuning into the recording and thanks for being here live. So.